To Tampa we go. You're listening in live.
Good morning and welcome to the NCAA Women's Final Four pre-championship press conference. Joining us on the stage are the UCLA Bruins. We'll hear an opening statement from Coach and follow up with questions for Lauren, Kiki, and Gabriella. This time, Coach, get you started.
Thank you all for being here. You know, I think one of the coolest parts about being able to participate in this role is being able to see behind the scenes all that goes into creating an elite experience for these student athletes. And part of that is all of you in terms of telling their amazing stories, shining a light on their incredible journeys. And just want you to know it doesn't go unnoticed or unappreciated, and our game is not in the position it is without your contributions to that. You know, we are expectant. This is not a surprise for us to be here. We expected and believed that we would be in Tampa. And so, and that being said, we're really grateful, but we are ready to compete. And so we're excited about that opportunity. Obviously, incredible respect for the other 3 teams that are in this tournament and excited to match up against those.
Thank you, Coach. We'll open up with questions. We'll start right here to my left, our left, and then we'll come back over to our right.
Hi, Sabrina Merchant, The Athletic. I guess for Kiki or Gabriella, did either of you get a chance to watch the McDonald's All-American game this week? And for Lauren, what's it been like for your family to have all of this going on at once?
I did not watch. We were on the plane actually while the game was going on, but obviously saw a lot of the highlights on social media. I want to give a big shout out to Sienna for doing such a great job and winning MVP. But it's really cool to have her coming in, and we're very excited for her and Lauren and the entire Betts family.
Yeah, obviously we didn't get to watch, but when we landed, Avery was sitting in front of me. She's like, "Oh, Sienna won MVP," and I had no idea. So I'm just so happy for her. And the family group chat was texting all night, basically. So it's been a crazy couple of past days for my family, but yeah, just super proud of her always, and she's just so amazing. So yeah.
We're gonna go to our right, sir.
Hi, ladies. Kurt Sandvall from ABC7 back home. If 2 of the 3 of you could answer at this point to get to here, you get a lot of congratulations, but also a lot of distractions between text and social media. What is the challenge of accepting that, but also eliminating the noise?
Yeah, I think that is a difficult part, and learning how to navigate that can be hard, but our coaches do a great job of giving us tools to handle these situations. And I think for me personally, after we won the Elite 8 game to come to the Final Four, I was really excited, and I was looking at all the stuff on social media, and I give myself, 2 days, and then after that, I think it's time to lock in for our next opponent. But yeah, just try not to give too much of your attention to that, because a lot of people are saying things, that can piss you off, you don't agree with, and they're not in our circle. And so understanding that they don't know what's going on behind the scenes in our locker room, and the people in our locker room are most important.
We're going to stay to our left. It's third row, and then we're going to come up to the second row.
Hi, Jalen Johnson. This is for Lauren. That you took off. And I want to just say thank you for your honesty with that. But you've talked more than a basketball player, and I just wanted to give you the chance to say who Lauren Betts is aside from basketball.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you also. But yeah, no, I think that I always try to remind myself that I'm so much more than basketball. And I think I always talk about how I really value the relationships I have.
I see both of you. We'll go second, back to the third, and then we'll come back up to the second row again. To you as well. Thank you.
Annie Costable, Front Office Sports. Corey, this question's for you. With the transfer portal being open, love the laugh. With the transfer portal being open while you guys are still playing, what challenges does that present, and how do you have to adjust your staff to accommodate that need?
Actually, if we could hold, we're doing questions for Coach Post, so we're going to continue to fill those questions to the student athlete. We'll come back to you, Annie. Promise. We can go third row. You can raise your hand higher. We'll get to you.
What's going on, y'all? Misha Jones, also with Rising Media Stars. I'm from the DMV, Kiki. So I wanted to ask you specifically, what is it about that area that you think molded you as a player? And are there some faves from that area that have played in this tournament and been stars that you kind of take inspiration from?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in DMV, I always say it's the best basketball area in the country. But I think just the level of competition through high school and AAU really prepared me for the next level. I mean, I grew up, going to the WCAC championship games and just seeing all the fantastic leagues there. And yeah, I mean, watched a lot of players at St. John's, DeMatha on the guys' side. And I just think that, seeing that really motivated me to just continue to get better. And yeah, so grateful to be from that area.
We're going to go to our right in this corner. We're going to come back over to the side. Please proceed.
Carl Adam at Hearst Media. Kiki, can you talk about the jump that Lauren has made this season from start to finish? And to follow Lauren, if you could talk about the same thing, the work you've done and the pressure you've dealt with to be an elite player.
Yeah, I mean, Lauren's obviously improved so much over these past few years, and I think for all of us, just being able to see that firsthand every day in practice, and she worked so hard. She put in so much work in the spring and the off season, the summer, and I think that's where her game just really, really improved so much. And I think like from the first day in some workouts and in preseason, I could just tell what a different player she was and kind of a different confidence that she had about her, because we all knew the entire time the incredible player that she was, but I think a lot of it was about her realizing that and just being able to kind of play with her, help her alongside in that journey has been an incredible honor. And I mean, she's obviously unstoppable out there on the court, and just very grateful to play with her.
It's key.
We're going to stay on our right.
Yeah.
You can raise your, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Please proceed. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no, it's okay. Thanks, Key. To add to that, I would say, I mean, kind of like what Kiki said, I think it's just me finally realizing the player that I am. And I think that a lot of it has to do with not just the basketball side, but like the mental work that I've done this past season. I think that, just talking to Coach Shannon, having those conversations about like, taking away all the pressure of when I'm on the floor and just playing for my teammates and understanding like the moment and what I have to do. I think that's just made me the player that I am. I mean, I think also I have to give a lot of credit to this program and like the amount of confidence that they've given me and like all the love that they've showed me these past couple of years. I mean, I'm just super grateful to be at UCLA. So thank you.
All right. We're going to go to our second row. We'll go to the back and then we'll come back over. I see you. Yes, please.
Okay.
No, right. Right next to you. Thank you. Please proceed.
Tiffany Nguyen with the LA Times for Kiki. I know you talked earlier this year about your relationship with Jordan Canada. What has that been like for you as you've gone through this from freshman now to junior year? She was in a similar situation, a point guard for the #1 recruiting class. And like, how is just she and maybe some of the other alumni helped you kind of grow throughout this process now to the Final Four?
Yeah, I think we would, all of us sitting up here would say how impactful all of the UCLA alumni have been on our journey. I mean, they've just been so supportive throughout this entire year. And since we've gotten here, JC was someone I watched before I came to UCLA. And, I really, really have always admired her. And just, over these past few years, she's been at practices. She's helped us get better, helped us prepare for games. And now to see her like watching from afar and just kind of, she'll send me congratulatory texts after games and just, certain things. And I think having their support really means a lot because, part of the reason why we're in this position is because of the, the work that they did to build this program, and we're continuing to carry that on.
You can raise your hand in the back. He'll get to you. We'll come back up to the front. I see you as well. I still saw you in the front row as well. Please proceed.
Hi, Bella Munson with The Next. Lauren, I also wanted to ask you about the ESPN story about your mental health. I was wondering if there was any particular reason you decided to do that story recently. It was published, I think, 2 weeks ago, and how you feel since sharing it. And Kiki and Gabriella, if you could talk about what, if any, changes you've seen in Lauren since she's been more open about her mental health struggles, that would be really appreciated.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons why I wanted to come out with a story is because I felt like I was finally in the right place to do so. I think that I just done a lot of healing since then, and I was like, you know what? I just don't feel like I have to really hide this anymore. And I think the responses that I've had since then have truly just like validated, what I did and what I put out. And I think that, the amount of love and support that I've gotten is just means a lot to me. And, to help young girls who I guess didn't really have anyone to look up to. Like I personally, I I had mentors and I'm really thankful, but I know there's a lot of young girls who don't. And so I think just for me to be an outlet and to kind of validate their feelings and to know that there's someone out there who's dealing with the same thing that I am is I think is just really important. But yeah, I'm just really grateful for all the love and support that I've been receiving since that article. It means a lot to me. So
And for follow-up questions, can we start with Kiki and then go to Gabriella?
Yeah, I mean, I just think Lauren's willingness to be open about a topic that's not easy is inspiring to all of us, and I think we've all seen her grow in her confidence over these over these past few months, and I think I've even seen another step in that over these past few weeks towards the end of the season, and yeah, just really proud of her for that.
Sorry. I'm just super proud of Lauren and, the way she emphasizes mental health and is an advocate for it, especially with student athletes, because it is something super important. And being a student athlete is, very hard at times. It's super fun. I'm super thankful. But to see Lauren just advocate for not only herself, but for so many others is really inspiring. And I'm just super proud of her and the way she has grown throughout her college experience and college career.
We want to shift to our right.
Hi, I'm Gigi with Overtime. And Lauren, what is something Sienna is better at than you?
Y'all oh my gosh. Oh, okay, like in basketball or just like in life in general? Like
Basketball.
basketball? Whew, okay, I will say she's a way better shooter than I am. And to be honest, like I feel like for her being younger, I think she like is a little bit smarter than I am too. Like she's genuinely one of like the smartest basketball players I've ever been around. So yeah, credit to her. I don't know where she got it from, but yeah. Yeah.
Want to shift to our left? If you could raise your hand in the black front row. Thank you.
Yeah, Mitch North from SB Nation. Kiki, I know you played against AZ in high school. Just what kind of, from your perspective, makes her a great player, and are you looking forward to kind of matching up with her again on such a big stage? And what are you looking forward to about that matchup?
Yeah, she's a great player. We played against each other a lot throughout high school. Our high schools were like 15 minutes away from each other. And I think she's always been a fantastic shooter, one of the best shooters that I've like been able to see and stuff. And I think just grateful to have another opportunity to play against her and the UConn team. But yeah, it's really cool that both of us are from the DMV.
We'll stay on our left-hand side. If you could raise your hand with the blue jacket so we can get that microphone to you.
Shane Patagna with the Tampa Bay Times. I had a question for Gabriella. So knowing that your brother Jaime made his own run with UCLA to the Final Four in 2021, has he given you any advice on how to handle this new and big stage of the Final Four?
Yeah, I was very thankful that I got to, watch my brother's 2 games in Indiana on his team's run. But he's been super busy with his own basketball games and things like that. But he's always supporting, and I just really appreciate his support.
We'll go to our right-hand side. Joey, if you could raise your hand, they can get to you.
Joey Johnston with the Tampa Bay Sports Commission. Lauren, I wanted to ask you, there's players in other programs that have been to this event. This is the first time around for UCLA. You guys have been here for a few days. How do you mix business with pleasure? Do you get some time to enjoy the community? And what do you think so far of what it's been like here?
No, it's unbelievable. We kind of talked about it in film, just Coach Shannon brought it up, just enjoying the moment. Obviously, we talked a lot about, media and how there's going to be a lot of things going on and it'll be a little hectic, but like just acknowledging that like we're here at the Final Four and this is a huge deal and it's a huge accomplishment for this program and, just having fun. I mean, like we're all here together. We all love each other so much and just to experience this together, I think is amazing. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun and obviously we're also reminding ourselves at the end of the day, like we're here to win as well. And it's a business trip. And, at the end of the day, like we're here to play in the Final Four as well, but we can also just have fun and enjoy each other's company. So
Take our final question for student athletes. If you could raise your hand on the right-hand side so we can get to you. Right. You had your hand raised previously. Am I? Yep. No longer? Okay. We'll hit this last question on our left-hand side. If you could raise your hand. Thank you.
Hi, Jennifer Porty from Let's Talk Women in Basketball. What have you guys learned about yourself throughout this tournament?
I can take that one first. Yeah, I mean, I think our toughness and our resilience has been something that we've really worked on and that it's been on display throughout this tournament. I think especially in our LSU game, our ability for so many people to so many people different to step up and hit big shots and make big plays, and just our ability to play in those close games and find a way to pull them out.
I would say the same thing. I think our toughness and I think our composure as well. Obviously, like it's a game of runs. Things are gonna go wrong. People are gonna have fouls or be in foul trouble. But I think just making sure that it's next man up, and I think that just talks about like the depth of our team. I mean, everyone's just ready, and you have such a talented roster that when things go wrong, like we know at the end of the day we're gonna be okay.
Yeah, I would just add exactly what they said, but our togetherness, how powerful we are when we stay together throughout the whole game, and we play for each other. So I've had so much fun so far, and I can't wait for more.
Thank you, Lauren, Kiki, and Gabriella. At this time, the locker room is now open and the 3 student athletes will move to the mix zone. We'll now open up for questions for Coach. Annie, we will start with you. We'll get the microphone to you. Give me 1 second. Please proceed.
Okay. Corey, sorry about that.
Yeah, you're
Possible
fine.
front office sports. Yeah, I'm curious with the transfer portal being open while you guys are still playing, what's the challenges that are presented and how do you shift your staff to accommodate?
Yeah, we thankfully we have more coaches now, and that makes a big difference so that we can divide and conquer a little bit more. But I think there's 2 sides of this, and I saw an interview with Bruce Pearl recently, and talking about how yes, it's very inconvenient, it's very difficult, but also that having the kids be able to pursue what their next steps are is important. And I really did pause when he said that and think about the majority of the numbers, right? We are very fortunate this year. We don't have a lot of space, so it actually has not been very difficult for us at all. Because we have the potentially to have almost our whole roster return. But from a global perspective, I think there's 2 challenges. One is what is best for the student athletes and what is best for our game. And the part that concerned me a little bit about the game part is how quickly coaches were trying to, or athletic departments were trying to fill coaching positions so that they had people in place during for the transfer portal opening. And I think that has been an unintended consequence of the date, which is really difficult. So now you have assistant coaches leaving in the middle of the tournament. You've got, on top of everything else we're doing, I have people calling about, your coaches and are they interested in jobs and things like that. So somehow to find a marriage of like, okay, what is best for the student athletes? I think the bottom line is if you're in the Sweet 16 or beyond and you need a transfer situation, there's enough people that you can accommodate. Is it convenient? No. Is it hard? Yes. But you can do it. And especially since we're in the minority, there's only 16 teams left that are affected in that way. But I do think the whole thing about how it affected the coaching carousel, I think that's worth a second look because that has been a major distraction. And when that's a distraction, it affects the student athlete experience. And so I think that's something we got to look at.
Take our next question up in the front. Cassandra, can you raise your hand so I can get it to you?
Cassandra Negley, Yahoo Sports. You've often talked about being an uncommon coach, and you mentioned it yesterday at the Naismith ceremony, having uncommon players. I know there's the uncommonness of UCLA being in it's first NCAA Final Four, but I'm just curious, what is uncommon about this team that got you here?
I think it's the hardest working team that I've ever been a part of, top to bottom. I have to kick them out all the time of the gym. They want more. They're incredibly hardworking, and I have to give that credit to Kiki Rice. She has set a cultural standard of work that is contagious and pervasive. And she deserves so much credit in that. I think what else is uncommon of this group is so many players. I have never had a roster this star-studded, and it's uncommon to have this many stars be willing to give up individual things for a more powerful collective thing. And those would be probably the 2 most uncommon things about this particular team.
I'm going to move to our right, Doug, and then we'll come back over. I have a list going.
You're good.
Hey, Corey,
Hi,
Doug
Doug.
Feinberg, the AP. I was hoping you could walk us through a little bit,
your relationship with Gino? Because I remember you went to watch practices
Mhm.
probably close to a decade ago now, I think.
For 13 years ago. Mhm.
Just how that all happened, and now that you're
Mhm.
playing them and on the
Yeah.
game's biggest stage, how great it was to be able to learn from the
Learn, yeah.
best.
Not only was it well, so when I my first year at UCLA, we weren't in the NCAA tournament. And so I had a little more time on my hands after the season was over, and I'm like, what a unique opportunity. I wonder if people would let me watch them, practice. And so I called Muffet McGraw, and I called Coach Oriema and asked if I could come and watch. And so I spent I think the first and second rounds, I spent watching Notre Dame, their prep, and then I went to Connecticut and spent 4 days there and watched them practice and prepare. And, it was just tremendous. And then the next year in October, I brought my entire staff out to watch him practice. And, he's a master teacher. He's really, really, he's done it in a style of play that I really enjoy, just personally, especially on the offensive end. And trying to think about, as a young, first year at that point, head coach, what was that going to look like for me? And so to have that time where, and it wasn't just Coach Oriema, CD and their assistant coaches. I mean, their whole program, just letting someone in the middle of the NCAA tournament and learn, I think it's a huge credit to them. And so there used to be a joke that whether I was at UC Santa Barbara or at Florida State or then at UCLA, every year we ended up in their bracket. So that got a little old because they were really good. But at the same time, I just think when people who have set the standard of the game are willing to reach back and teach somebody else, it goes a long way.
We'll stay on our right-hand side. If you can come up one more in the brown.
Hi, great. Emily Adams, Hartford Current. You worked with both Paige and AZ at the USA basketball level. Just curious what you remember about them, working with them at that age, and how you've seen them develop now as you're scouting them for a Final Four.
Yeah. It's funny. When we were in Thailand for the U19 World Cup with Paige, she happened to be my next door neighbor the entire time for 3 weeks in Thailand. And so her and Celeste Taylor, I remember it. And it would always be, we joke about what the pregame playlist was going to be. And thankfully, we both really like gospel music. So that was usually the choice. And Paige has just got an incredible charisma. She made the pass. I mean, I think to me, she's an incredibly most efficient scorer of all those things, but her elite skill in my mind that I love the most is watching her vision and her passing. It's just amazing. And we were in a position in the gold medal game that she needed to make the pass for us to have a chance to send it to overtime. And she made the pass and made the play and sent us on. And she's an incredible player. She's an even better teammate. And just was great to have that experience with her. Lots of respect and admiration. AZ, it's interesting that I had this experience with Lauren too, and those are probably the two that they carried me a little bit. So when I coached them, my dad died when I was on the trip with USA Basketball. And those two kids, I remember the circle. I remember sitting there and telling them, like, this is going on. I'm okay, but this is happening. And their response to me was just tremendous. And I had recruited them both. They both turned me down. But AZ, she just has this, she has incredible work ethic. She's an elite player. She has a very tender heart. And I was the beneficiary of that on that trip. And I will be forever grateful.
We're going to move to our left in the plaid, and then we'll go to the back. So the black, I know I have the blue. Again, we're moving through.
Hey,
When
Coach.
we're moving.
Misha Jones here with Rising Media Stars once again. So I want to take us back in time. You've been at UCLA since 2011. You were under 500 that first season, but if you had to go back knowing how everything has unfolded since then, what is the advice you give that version of Corey Close, and what do you tell coaches who want to make that first gig stick?
Good question. I think that don't try to be all things to all people. Know what your lane is and how you operate best and be authentic to that. That's where the whole uncommon thing came from, is that I knew I didn't want to do it like everybody else. But it was hard. I was insecure at times. Can I really get this done? Could this really work? And so, but I think anything other than that would have been inauthentic, and it would have been, I wouldn't have had the joy or the meaning that, or honestly, to be able to sustain, because I really wouldn't have believed in it at the deepest levels, right? The thing that I would say, the biggest thing is who you surround yourself. Show me the 5 closest people to a new head coach in the program, and I will show you what their level of success will be. And I got a lot of things wrong, but the one thing I got right is the people I surrounded myself with. Loyalty, character, trust. I had so many people, well, you need this. You've been gone from California this long. You need this person. You need this. Telling me what I needed. But I knew I needed trustworthy, people of integrity, high character, hardworking. I knew that I needed someone, all of them. I wanted them to be able to develop talent. I wanted them to build authentic relationships, and I wanted them to be able to recruit. And everything else, I figured if those things were in place and they were high character people, we'd be okay.
Kareem, please proceed.
Hey, Corey. Kareem
Hi.
Copeland from Washington Post. Just quickie, couple things that you have to take care of tomorrow to be successful and to advance.
A couple things? Yeah. I think that one of the reasons I chose to learn from Coach Auriemma is that he doesn't teach just a bunch of plays. He teaches and equips his players to make plays and to read defenses. So when you're scouting them, the amount of, there's not a lot of predictability because they're really good at read and react. And it's a very high basketball IQ team. And so I think the challenges is all the different ways they create open threes and the efficiency in which to do it. So the number one thing is that we've got to do defensively is to limit their 3-point attempt rate. And it's very clear in the analytics when their 3-point attempt rate is up, they win. And when they defensive rebound, they win. Those are the 2 biggest win-loss statistics that determine their success from an analytics perspective. And so our challenge is going to be to try to limit that attempt rate and at least quality ones. And then the other thing that they do is they use players as you try to extend to do that, to cut behind you. And so to be able to defend back cuts, is really important because that's the counter when you take away threes. So those on the defensive end. And then we have to figure out how we can play through the paint, and not just with Lauren Betts, but to do that because that's how we're built, and shoot our threes after paint touches and not fall in love with them too early. But the more stops we get, the more we're able to do that in transition. So that'll be a huge key for us playing through the paint on the offensive end. Ball movement and paint touches are the 2 biggest indicators for us being successful versus them on the offensive end.
Coach, we're going to move to our right. If you could raise your hand in the green.
Cora Hall with USA Today. You're going up against a UConn program that's making their 24th appearance. It's your program's first. A lot of people might think that's an advantage for UConn and being here before, but do you feel like there's an advantage on your side of your team, doing something this program's never done before and that kind of different pressure? Just kind of what's that like from your perspective?
I think it's just, not only is every team different in terms of their talent base and strengths and weaknesses, but their makeup internally is different. And I can't speak to theirs. Obviously their record here speaks for itself. But one of the coolest parts about coaching this team for UCLA is that they haven't been surprised. They really have prepared to win step by step, starting way back when we played South Carolina at home, and we started out just not a very confident team and just earned it little by little. And so I just think this is that next hurdle, right? So we're not preparing to be here. We're preparing to win. And we're trying to prepare in such a way that we have the confidence to do so. Is it an advantage of being here multiple times? I would say, yeah, it is probably, but there's different kinds of advantages on all parts of this. So our job, I can't control that. So my job is to not give my energy to that at all.
Take our final question in the back in the blue shirt. If you could raise your hand.
Andrea Adelson with ESPN.com. Corey, as a follow-up to that, you're the #1 overall seed, yet everyone's talking about UConn.
Doesn't seem that way, does it?
That's my question. Does it feel like you guys are a little bit of an underdog heading into this game, even though you are the #1 overall seed?
Yes, it does. But honestly, it has sort of all year. And I think we've benefited from that, honestly, that we spent more time as #1 in the country all year long. And we were the most non-talked about #1 team in history. But I can't complain about that because I think it allowed our team to stay focused on the right things. And so, I do think that's sort of been the case, but I do know that the number one overall seed stays in the nicest hotel, and that is true. So that is really beneficial right across the street. But I think that the reality is that, I love the coverage of our sport. So if you want to talk about whoever you want, go ahead. It's going to all shake out there about who shows up to perform, who plays their best when their best is needed. And we both have two really, really good teams. Also a credit to them. I think they have been playing their best basketball in the last, 6 weeks of the season. And I saw a real turn in them during that time. So they've earned some of that and obviously their history. But this is this year's UConn team, not the last 10 years plus or 20 years of UConn teams. And this is our UCLA team. And I have a lot of confidence both mentally and physically and tactically in this UCLA team. And I think it's going to be a great battle.
Coach, want to thank you for your time today. Best of luck tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here.